think that artificial intelligence is calling us to become humans. Again, it's giving us a space for us to understand what is our power in terms of how can we first of all connect, and second of all understand what has to be done in terms of having a shared vision. Where are we going as a community? How can we really do the transformations in the planet that the planet needs, and then act in this so much broader way.
So, hi. Today we have Larissa, the founder of Culturas, over a decade ago, and has been leading the charge ever since. With a background in sustainability, the green economy, cross-cultural communication, regenerative leadership, and neuroscience of business, she brings a unique mix of expertise to the table. Her passion lies in helping people build strong connections and feel more engaged at work through personal development. She's a devoted yogi and advocate for inner growth. Larissa is also all about creating workplaces where people can truly thrive. And her dedication to well-being and her wide range of knowledge have made her a standout leader in building inclusion, innovation, sustainability, and work environments. It's a pleasure to have you on, Larissa, and welcome.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words. It's a pleasure
Absolutely.
being here. Very nice to have this kind of conversations, and I'm looking forward for our
Excellent.
dialogue.
So, just a little bit about Culturas as far as like what was, what kind of was the motivation to start this organization and this company and so forth for you?
Yeah, so Culturas is 14 years now, and I
Mm,
started with another business model actually. When I started, well, I was like more focusing on cross-cultural knowledge. I am originally from Brazil, and I live in Norway for 16 years, I believe. And because of the oil industry, Brazil and Norway was like just booming this relation, like this bilateral relation. And I felt the need of, someone bridging
mhm.
those cultures. So I was doing like training the diplomats, going to Brazil. Like, so I had a contract with the Minister of Foreign Affairs here. And then I was doing the same for companies that was operating in Brazil. And I did this for a few years. But after when I was like exposed to sustainability, I decided to start to work more in the area of sustainability. So it was like kind of a natural process, like rediscovering a new model. And then I end up for a bunch of reasons and like, like kind of mixing a little bit with like some challenge that I had in personal life as well. I end up in this model where we are bringing inner development for working places in terms of like generating more connection, better collaboration, more engagement and motivation, and so like the whole entire psychology and neuroscience behind well-being to companies.
How has because the Norwegian culture and versus Brazil, there's a definite difference in the way they communicate and interact, both probably personally and in business, right?
Yeah.
And so before we got on the podcast here, we had a little conversation, and you said that that in the workplace in Norway, it's just like people like to kind of be in their own space and sort of not interact in a big way. And so maybe you could speak about that and how do you as a company reach these people to the point where they actually take action, and whether it's their leaders or how you present your company's offerings and so forth. So if you could share a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
So a culture is something funny, right? Because like you can never say like what is right, what is wrong is always different. But like being exposed to different cultures, you also understand that like what works for me to be more efficient and stuff. So like in Brazil, if you are part of a team, it's very normal that you mix a little bit of personal and professional. We become friends, and like communication flows. People is very open, very warm. We definitely celebrate small achievements. This is like totally in the Brazilian culture. We have lunch together, we talk together, we invite each other to barbecue. And this makes so much platform for exchanging and for collaboration. And like the things are much more easy because you are connected. Here in Norway is completely different. People like to be a little bit more individualistic, and this is my task, this is yours, you do yours, I do mine. And by being exposed to the work environment here, I felt that I didn't have the space to share my ideas or like to be a little bit more communicative or like to collaborate. I didn't found the
Mm-hmm.
space to collaborate. So I understood that was like like a gap here that like if people here is already so efficient, imagine when they start to really communicate and really collaborate and really like kind of complement each other because right now is very individualistic. So I just looked back home and I felt like, okay, this can be something that I can bring as a Brazilian or as a
Mm-hmm.
Norwegian born in Brazil. That's something that I can bring from Brazil to here. And, so that's how I start to design those kind of connections for the workplace and has been worked quite well. And even it's like not only productive for working place, it's also productive for families, for
Mm-hmm.
receiving friends of your kids, like with anyone. Connection is a need for our brain. We feel secure, we feel more connected to ourselves when we are connected to others. The brain's social, right? So
Mm-hmm.
this is really important for performance as well.
And you find that business leaders or whatever are open to you know thinking about changing the culture of the business. I mean, in a big way.
It's really good question. I have been facing a lot of skepticism. I'm not going to lie. This is like the
Yeah,
the
it's good
most
to.
difficult thing because like people is afraid to change and like everything is working as it is. So why, right? But I also see a wave of changing happening so
Yeah.
fast because I started with this concept like a couple of years ago. So like I have been like, like talking massively about the need of this and a lot of people like putting nose here and there, like not really. But yesterday, for example, I went to a meeting with coaches and executives of traditional companies here in Norway at BI University, like it's the business school here in Oslo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
High level people, great discussions where they have been talking about the energy of the room, inner compass, the importance of keep your values, the purpose, like so I can see that there is other people also talking about it, and I think that
Mm-hmm.
like the neuroscience has been a little bit more and more. What is that? What do you mean? We are start to understand, for example, concepts that before was like we thought that our brain could not develop after the age of 28. Now we know that we all have capacity for neuroplasticity. Is like
Mm-hmm.
the capacity that the brain has to keep developing itself until the day that you die.
Mm-hmm.
You stimulate it after 28. So the importance of those mental trainings are becoming a little bit more spread. Like you see pictures of brains with muscles everywhere, right? So people understand that like, oh, we train the muscles, we need to train the brain. What is that? Concepts like mindfulness in company as becoming a little bit less taboo and getting from outside of the like from the last room, the corner, into normal meeting rooms. I have been some meetings where we start with 2 minutes of silence or like a little bit of breath technique or either like gratitude around. So
Mm.
yeah, there is still a lot of skeptical people, but there is also this wave of like awakening, and I think this is going to
Mm-hmm.
grow fast. This is my feeling.
That's wonderful. Good.
Mm.
And you mentioned we talked pre podcast about how certain types of jobs or tasks are going to be replaced. The ones that are depending on our cognitive brain or what is you. So you could explain it, articulate it much better. But just in terms of there's a shift happening, so that means that we have to, as human beings in the workplace, have to adapt to this change that's rapidly coming into
Yeah.
businesses.
Yeah, so like my professor of neuroscience, Dr. Tara Swart, I did my MBA in MIT, and she wrote a book called Neuroscience for Leadership that is like my guide. And in this book, she describes six kinds of thinking, six ways of thinking. And cognitive is the one that we all recognize and are very proud of. And then we have five other ways of thinking. And my point that I was taking here is that the cognitive is being taken by AI. And everyone
Mm.
that is like using AI as it's supposed to be used, know that this is absolutely no way to go. This is it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just need to be like the checker, give the prompt, but the cognitive tasks are taken. So we as human beings, we need to keep developing and looking to the other five ways of thinking, because that's what we are going to bring into workplaces and to our communities and to our families. For now, I believe, I think that artificial intelligence is calling us to become humans again.
Hmm.
Like it's giving us a space for us to understand what is our power in terms of like how can we first of all connect, and second of all understand what has to be done in terms of having a shared vision. Where are we going as a community? How can we really do the transformations in the planet that the planet needs? And then act in this so much broader way. And I have been applying a lot of those techniques and mental trainings in my life. And I can tell you, like, I am a whole different person today in terms of like
Mm.
performance and
Hmm.
productivity and capacity. I think that I have improved at least 5 to 6 times from 2 years to
Wow.
now. Yeah.
2 years.
Yeah,
That's
because
amazing.
like with the right
Hmm.
use of AI, this happens so fast because it's really efficient. So I have
Hmm.
like, different employees working for me. I go direct to the conversation, and obviously like you have to develop these skills, but once you do, then you are a way much more efficient and everybody's talking about it. So like
Hmm.
I think that the people that it's not really looking to it is because they are still afraid of like, oh, I need to learn this. Oof, I don't know how to, you know what I mean? So they hold
Hmm. It's
themselves.
intimidating. Yeah.
Yeah, and then they want to play like, this is not happening. This is, but it is. Like, there is no way to run away from that. So like, the faster the better, I think.
Yeah. Interesting. Somebody I talked to the other day, a coach, I think he was, and he was saying something about, he gave the analogy of like AI is like a, well, there's two choice stories, but one of them was about AI as a, if your metaphor would be like a horse or a stallion. AI is fast. It's like, it'll pump all kinds of information and be ready in seconds or minutes or a few days if it's coding or something. But then it's like if without the human that's riding the horse guiding it, it's really sort of like a power out of control. And
Mm,
it's just like we need to be able to harness it in a way that's that it's serving us in terms of what direction we're going in. And, like what you said, like the shared vision, where it's not just allowed. Because I think it's one of the fears is that people think AI is going to eventually develop so strongly that it becomes like in the science fiction movies where they're
yeah,
taking over. So and of course everybody doesn't want that.
yeah.
So
But
that's got
it's
to.
understandable. Sometimes I'm afraid too, I have to confess. But then
Yeah.
I ask myself, should I be vibrating in this energy of fear, or should I just cope?
Yeah.
And I think that like the big jump here is like when you understand that AI is your tool. AI works for you. It
Yes.
doesn't live your life, doesn't write message for, like AI works for you. So I prompt it. And
Hmm.
once you understand this, like, it's like you have so much more security to work with AI. So like even if I'm afraid, I think that I program my brain to look into the half full glass, because there is no
Yes.
no other. Even if I don't cope with a cope, it's not going back, and it's not like stopping because I'm afraid. It's going to be developing and
Right.
probably going to be much more smarter than us, and it is what it is. Like, what can we do?
No, but I think that the fact that you're already embracing it, it's like I think that's one of the things I think is important is that instead of being fearful of it, it's like okay, what are the things that each of us as individuals and corporate companies, et cetera, is like how can we manage the direction of it versus just being a victim of whatever occurs, so participating in it and using it for good instead of other
Yeah.
things that could happen.
And
So,
then also, because we have been talking about this six way of thinking, and
mm-hmm,
logic or cognitive is one, and then we have five more. And those are the five here. They are going to help you to be a good AI controller in a way,
yeah,
because they are like physicality, so
mm-hmm,
you understand the 37 senses that we human beings have. So like you find the
mm-hmm,
signs of the body. So did you know, for instance, like that you get like these goosebumps, like this is your body telling this is right for you? So we have all the
goosebumps.
signs that we can be like understanding. So like when you're reading what AI wrote, like you can feel the physicality. The other one is intuition. So the gut
Mm,
feeling, like the gut feeling is basically like information that our brain is stocking with the time and go down to, like our gut, because like is having a lot of information, and that's why the
mm-hmm,
information comes from there. But like this is a trustful information, and we need to train our
mm-hmm,
brain to accept it, because our brain can just tell like, no, I don't know you, so you need to train this. And then the other one is motivation. Your like you need to stay resilient to arrive where you want to arrive, and this is like a way of thinking, like a kind of intelligence. And then is your creativity. And for your creativity, you need to find this space, this silence in your brain that is so needed. And then there is emotional intelligence as well. Do you
mm,
understand your emotions? Can you put name on it? Can you feel and release? Can you understand that like sometimes you just hold in rumination because of emotion? It's like very fast, it can just go away. It's a lot of things that we need to learn in order to be coping better with AI, and
mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
this is like this is what this time is asking us as human beings, to look into ourselves and understand our power, like the power of our brain, the power of
mm-hmm,
our brain in connection with other brains, the fact that our brains like synchronize, and if we have a shared vision with intention and clarity where we are going, a group of people, this is so fast, this is so
mm-hmm,
amazing. You see like so much difference when people have intentions, together. So, for instance, like they made these studies on people. Half of the group would jump the breakfast. They didn't explain why. Half of the group, they told, you're doing intermittent fasting and this is the intention, you're going to lose this and da da da. This half group that knew the intention, they got all the benefits of fasting. The other group that didn't know the intention, nothing happened to the body. And this is science. We need to understand. So like when we start a meeting, for example, we need to establish what is our intention here. What is the
mm-hmm,
perfect scenario? What are we looking for? So like when we do this in the beginning of the meeting, in general, you match with the end of the meeting. When you don't do this, it's a bunch of like people talk, 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 talk. And I have seen so many productive meetings. I'm so like, like, oh my God, like everybody's talk, like what will you find out here? What is the common point? You know what I
what's the
mean? Like
point?
more question marks every time that someone talks. And
Mm-hmm,
so we need to start to organize our collaboration in smart ways, with this kind of
yeah,
tools, bring design thinking, mind mapping. It looks a little bit like frou-frou, but it's not. This is the new tools that,
mm-hmm,
Generation Z is using, and our generation has to catch up, especially if we wanted them to join us and to, take over
mm-hmm,
our. It's about time for us to adapt as well to, like what is new, how is this, new generations talking and connecting, and what is like, how they are, forming information, or what do they want to do as well, right? Because like it's a lot of problems, generational shocking as well. At least here in Norway, we see a lot of
So
different.
I understand you have two children. So you see firsthand kind of what, and you're looking at it from a perspective of someone who's really well educated in the sciences and all that stuff. What do you see is that how, especially with kids nowadays that are growing up with so much technology, so much like instant information, ability to access anything in seconds.
Yeah.
as far as as information primarily. But it seems like a
And never
really
going very deep either, right? Because we have the deepness, like we would read a book about a topic that
right.
was interesting to
Well,
us.
reading is that's. I'm
Nowadays,
wondering
it's
how
like
much they're even reading.
a real, like
It's-
now I know about it. Yeah,
yeah,
I take a lot of freshness from my daughters for sure. I'm very aware of like the differences. Some of the things again makes me scary, and like, but then I choose not to have the fear and understand that the world is changing and
yeah,
whatever is coming has to be embraced because I cannot change anything. So not to be in this, fear vibration, but yeah, it's paradox because it's scary. And in another hand, something that I have been doing since the beginning of Culturas is choose like a team member that is 15, 18 years younger than me.
yeah,
Like I like very much working. And then I have one of my good friends that is like developer of this technique that I'm using, the shared vision, the one that we bring
yeah.
people to the future to see with
Mm-hmm.
visualization what they want, like the outcome that they desire. She is 87 today. She has been
87.
87 and she's still like her
Great.
neuroplasticity is intact.
Yeah,
She's so smart and she has so much wisdom. So like she's a mentor for me. And then I have this word, and then I have, like the other one that
yeah.
is like almost 20 years younger than me. And then I can just like understand like what is to come, what was before, how can we use those experience here and this, like how can we adapt? And yeah, I think that this is like primordial because the
That's
world is changing so much that if you are not aware of like, both sides, you kind of
right.
get lost.
Because history repeats itself, right? That whole idea that if we don't learn from our the elders that have the wisdom and sort of experience, because I think especially in the workplace they value youth. You know what I mean? Like it's like when you get to a certain age, you're not like likely
It's
as
so
likely I can't
attractive.
well
Yeah.
to get certain jobs and things like that, even though you're qualified, they'll look for somebody that's fresh out of college, whatever it is, or a few years work experience. And
But
I just
I
think
understand. I understand because I
yeah,
work with so much youth. I understand what they mean because
yeah,
like they get annoyed by us like, okay, oh, can you send me just a Google Docs? And then we don't know what Google Docs is. And then is everything is a little bit difficult. So they get annoyed. And like with me, they love to work. I have been work with youth my whole entire life and
yeah,
it's cool. Like I just, I
yeah,
learn with them. I'm curious. And it's like, I don't know Google Docs. Can you sit with me and teach me? Like, and then I learn and then I use it, like
yeah, yeah,
and this is what we miss. Our generation, we are very proud people. We think that we know everything, and like the tools are different now. And I remember that's exactly what this girl that works with me in the beginning. She told me like, okay, I accept your offer and stuff, but if you're going to send me a Word document, I'm out. And I was like, okay, interesting. Like, explain. And you end up learning, and then you see like, oh, that's so much easier, and we even don't need to
yeah.
pay. That's wonderful. Need to keep like catching up with like what is new and what
It's
makes sense. But
yeah.
in the same way, like learning with these martyrs, with the people that
Well,
did
that's
that.
what's amazing is that you've been open to have your mentor or whatever working for it, working with you. And it's just like that's at an age where you expect them to go to their retirement home and they're socializing in their little playing some sort of game together, but it's like they have so much to offer and to give, and especially when they're very sharp and they're still
Yeah,
you know
yeah, and she's
sounds
retired,
like
and
it.
she's like I come to her place for coffees, and like we just like because she has been um, putting this technique here in Norway
Hmm.
since the 80s, and then she wrote all the science-based like articles about it, like all the stories in a book, and then I'm just taking over her work basically, and
Wow.
I can only imagine how like visionary this woman was to be like doing visualization in the 80s to now, like
Hmm.
like so I have so much respect for her, and I love the fact that she can just review and I can just like train because like instead of being bored, she's like, get excited with my work, and in another hand, I have someone to, review and give
Hmm.
me this confidence. She gives me a lot
Yeah.
of confidence because like when she tells me like it's good, go, I just like, yes, this is going to, and the results of this technique is brilliant. It surprises me every time.
Hmm.
It's brilliant. Like how fast we create new scenarios and we, like align the vision. It's beautiful and it's very
Hmm.
useful. So yeah, why not, right? And I was like
No,
this
I
big
think it's wonderful.
surprise
Yeah.
that just like we became friends and I even didn't know she worked with that. And then when I presented, because I always used her to give me feedback, and then I presented this new model to her and she told, this is what I did my whole life. And I was
Oh
just
my
like,
gosh.
this is so funny.
How interesting that you even met. You know what I mean? The possibility that what you were
Oh, sorry, I
offering.
just
No, 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 no,
was
no, no.
taking her book
Do
here because that's
no.
like in the
Oh,
day of this
wonderful. Please
conversation.
share it. That because I
Yeah,
think that.
in the day of this conversation, she told me like, "Oh, you can just,
And what's her
step
name?
by my
Marjorie
place because I
Parker.
have a book about it. Creating futures
Yeah.
that matters today, share vision. This is just like a ABC how to apply this technique with some of the successful stories.
Is
Everything
this
connected to
available today?
science.
Is
She's
this
like
available?
super smart.
Is this on the market like at Amazon
Yeah,
or
like
whatever?
you can buy on Amazon, costs
I'm gonna pick it
nothing,
up.
and the
It's a
technique is
very
really
interesting
worth
to
it.
me. And her name is Marjorie Parker.
Hmm. She's
Ah,
American,
awesome.
yeah.
That's great. No, I just spoke with I had a podcast guest that was 74 or something like that. Her name is Barbara Hemphill, and she has been kind of a leader in terms of what do you call it? Where what is it called? It's like dealing with like how like people hoard things and collect things and they don't let go and they hold on to things, but it's
Uh-huh.
about the letting go process of whether
Almas,
it
basically.
could well it could be actual physical things, and she was doing that for corporations 30 years ago where they had paper waste right everywhere. So she was all about efficiency, creating, organization systems, etc. And now she's 74, and now she's kind of reinventing and still doing it, but more in the digital space and
Uh-huh.
about how like our inboxes, etc. Too many files, too many this, too many that, and she's kind of helping people get organization and sort of simplicity to it. and
Yeah.
and and I just found it kind of interesting, just because she could choose to retire. I think her husband's quite wealthy. It's just like, but she's not.
She
She's
want to be productive and like
exactly, exactly.
contribute. I think I
Yeah,
will be like this too. I
I'm
think
sure you will.
I like, and in every term, like, I think that with my routine today
Hmm.
and like my practices and like my
Hmm.
discipline and in keeping the balance of the 5 points that we need to keep in balance, my body haven't changed much. Like I'm 50, I still like, feeling
You look
strong,
amazing.
flexible, and
Good.
I feel that like my brain is going to be the same because I'm doing my mental training every day. I'm never going to stop. So I'm going to be
Yeah.
just like Margie, like by
Yeah.
87, I'm just going to be like helping people, doing the work, being mentor. Because yeah, what's the
Wonderful.
point about stopping? If we're alive, we need to keep going,
Yeah.
like and I think it's amazing that people with more age than me is also reinventing themselves. Sometimes
Yeah.
that's what we have to do, right? Like I'm all about like reinventing myself in the virtual market now because I noticed that in Brazil, like Instagram became like a visit card and everybody's showing like the profession plus a little bit of what they do, a little bit of lifestyle. And then I was just like, okay, I miss Brazil. I want to be in Brazil. Everybody in Brazil is in the virtual. I'm going to the virtual too. And it
Yeah.
was so good decision because once I start to speak in Portuguese on Instagram, my
Oh,
world opened to these people that is like seeking for connection with me in my
wow.
language. It was just like a win-win, and it's
Yeah.
going to give me opportunities in the future too, because like
Oh,
then
I'm
I'm like
sure.
just touching a market that's like 200 million people that I
Yeah.
can in the future like sell my courses or, like, so this is like Yeah, a little bit funny, a little bit scary, but at the same point, I'm not going to stay behind.
Well, you've heard of the what is it? It's a learning model. It's like you're not fixed in a certain way. You're not closed off to you know. You have a what is it called? Like a learning way of being in terms of you choose to be open to trying new things,
Mhm.
taking new things, to be a beginner, like a beginner's mind almost, type
Yeah,
thing. So it
yeah,
feels
exactly.
that
Yeah, I
you're
think that
always
like
in that
this
space.
is the concept of neuroplasticity. We are capable
Mm,
to learn anything new at any point, and how much more we learn new things, the better and stronger is our brain. Our brain
excellent.
starts to give like signs of Alzheimer and dementia because it's not trained. So, like,
Hmm.
training is learning new things. So,
Yeah.
everything that you're curious about, just like dive into it. It's so easy to get information today, like, so start to dive into it. And you, like, if you can, take a book, like, go a little bit deeper, make a course, online course. There is so many options, right? And talk to someone that is smarter than you. I love asking people for talk like you did, you approach like, let's have a conversation. Yes, of course, I love it because we always end up learning new things, talking about things that we didn't talk before. And this is what our brain needs to keep fresh and strong.
Hmm.
I am 100% sure that I'm not going to have Alzheimer or dementia. I'm 100%. This is like 100% guarantee because I can see
Yeah.
like I'm in menopause now, like women at some point they start like period and then it's
Oh yeah.
crazy, the hormones go crazy, the brain goes crazy, everything is crazy, we start to
Hmm.
forget things. But guess what? I'm not forgetting. I'm not
Hmm.
forgetting. All my friends are like, they don't remember the name. Oh, what is that? What is that? It's like a pen. I remember everything and I'm remembering because I'm training my brain, I'm sure. Because none of
Yeah.
them are training like consistently as I'm doing. And that's
Hmm.
why the brain gets tired because you are like
Yeah.
rewiring yourself. You are stopping being like like someone that is going to take care of others or have a baby, like you're stopping this and to be something else. And then there is this disconnection. But if you are training your brain constantly, you keep aware and you keep strong. And
Hmm.
this is also like all new. It's all new science because neuroscience is very new. It's 10 years that they are scanning the brains. Before they would just scan the brain if we had like a problem in the brain. From 10 years to here, they are scanning every kind of different circumstance. And like, for instance, like women in menopause is very new. Like there is not a lot of studies showing exactly what happened in this process. But there
Hmm.
is studying showing that if you train your brain consistently and you give this silence, the 5 points that we need to keep in balance for performance is drinking a lot of water because the brain is made 78% of water, so you need to be hydrated with water, not
Hmm.
with coffee, water.
Not
Then
what.
eating well and providing the brain like the superfood for the brain that is like, oh, it's nuts and broccoli and eggs and fish and whatever. And then you need to sleep well, minimum
Hmm.
6 hours uninterrupted every night, so your brain can just clean the things, the information that it does need, and is open more space for fresh information the other day. Then is oxygenation through physical activity, so you need to move your body somehow during the week.
Hmm.
And the last one, and more disruptive, is the silence, is this little reset. So, like between tasks, for example, ideally we close our eyes and we come back to center, to senses. You can smell, you can put a little piece of chocolate in your mouth and just close your eyes and feel the taste, this is mindfulness. This
Hmm.
is the fifth point to keep performance, like the brain body connection, well for good performance.
Hmm.
And
Wow.
when you put this in your life, you see difference. You see, that's what I tell people. I'm not here to convince anyone. But if you are curious to try improving these 5 points,
Hmm.
write down the results and see if it works for you. For me, it worked in all the
Wonderful.
points that I can describe. Like, it really worked.
Well, Larissa, it's been wonderful to learn about all that you do. Believe it or not, 30 minutes has just gone like that.
Yes, yeah, that was
It's
great.
super. It was wonderful, what you shared. I think like you were talking about neurosciences and so forth, is there any, like, for someone to take a deeper dive into neuroscience and things like that, like you said, not just, get some instant answer what it's about, but if there's deeper, like a book that you'd recommend, or a particular author, or
I
maybe one
think
of your
that
own
like
books or whatever it is.
I'm not a neuroscientist myself. I'm
Yeah.
studying the neuroscience applied for business and for well-being,
Hmm.
and this is my Bible. So I really recommend
Ah,
this book. It's like even with piece of paper. This is
neuroscience
Dr.
for
Tara
leadership.
Swart. She
Tara
is one of
Swart.
the
Okay.
references for neuroscience for business,
Nice.
and
Well, this is, yeah, if you have any
yeah, and for
other,
sure, creating futures that matter today. This is just a technique, but it's like
but it's a
really
powerful one. Yeah. So that would be
powerful.
great for our listeners to, yeah. Well, it's wonderful. I think what you're doing is, kind of revolutionary and kind of changing things in a society, like let's say in Norway, that is a little, needs that sort of fresh approach and open-mindedness, and changing their connection with each other, and
Yeah.
and I think it'll
And
spill
Norway
over.
needs to change in terms of connection. Brazil needs to change in terms of trust. And I'm working in Brazil too, so I'm looking
Good.
at the countries
Well, yeah,
with
yeah.
different needs, but we all need to develop from inwards to outwards. So this is the idea. We just discover what is needed in each place and focus on this.
Yes.
And yeah, we didn't talk about the inner development goals, but I suggest you to just
Please give it a moment. You know what? Let's go ahead and talk about it for a moment, and then we'll end at that, if you
yeah,
don't mind.
okay,
If you don't
good.
mind sharing. Yeah.
So the inner development goals, if I can do it very brief,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have the sustainable development goals is the 17 goals that the planet made a consensus that we would achieve until 2030. On 2023, we had a report telling that we have achieved just 17% of what we expected. So a group of researchers from all continents got together in Stockholm, outside Stockholm, in an island, to discuss why we are not advancing the agenda of sustainability. And then the answer for this survey that was also like spread around the world was a framework called IDG, or Inner Development Goals. That is a framework with 25 inner skills that we can develop from inwards to outwards, because the answer that we are not advancing the sustainability agenda is because humanity is not prepared yet. And as individual, we have this compromise to look into this framework and understand like how can I, get better in the skills that I'm not yet there. And it made much more easier as well for individuals to contribute, because I think that the SDGs is so far away from us, right? Like, okay, I want to be sustainable, but what can I do? It's so far away. But like the IDGs brings it more to, okay, which of those skills can I improve and how can I do? So this is what Culturas is focusing. We use this framework as a menu, and from that we provide courses to develop those inner skills in individuals and teams.
Wonderful. Wow. It's great that you've brought all this together, and from your different experiences and education, and just within your workplace, you're kind of, I'm sure it's very evolved and very communicative, and you guys are working on the same mission and all that. So I think it'll be great to see how far you can spread this throughout the world. So thanks
Absolutely.
again, Larissa.
It was lovely
Pleasure.
talking to you.
Very
I'll
nice.
just put the website here for the
Yeah,
IDGs.
yeah, please.
Yeah, you can check it out.
I
It's
will,
really nice
definitely.
talking to you,
Very
Alan.
nice, Larissa. Yeah, I'm going to stop. So I'm going to say